planning for multiple scenarios. Tonight, the Prime Minister isn't sugarcoating it. He says new U.S. trade policies could hit the Bahamas hard. What government's doing about it? We'll tell you what he had to say and the urgent plan to protect our economy. This is local water sports operators firing back after a U.S. travel advisory warned Americans to steer clear of jet ski rides. They say the warning is unfair and they're setting the record straight. Plus, political fallout. Former House Speaker Halson Moultrie says the FNM's move to drop Dr. Minnis isn't shocking and might just be what the party needs to move forward. Then in our news at 7:30, the fallout from Trump's tariffs comes back into focus as global markets on edge, with Trump hitting pause and China digging in, businesses big and small racing for impact. Our news live at 7 starts right now. Welcome to our news live at 7. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Kendino Knowles. Prime Minister Philip Davis laying out the grim reality of the impact new U.S. trade policies will have on the Bahamas. Davis says government is collaborating with regional partners and is aggressively finding ways to diversify trade. Berthany McDermott gets us started tonight.
Amid global instability following the tariff war started by U.S. President Donald Trump, Prime Minister Philip Davis says the Bahamas is facing new and very significant challenges due in part to those tariffs. In a video message Wednesday evening, Davis said he's exploring various avenues to minimize the blow to the local economy. The Bahamas is among the countries saddled with a 10% base rate on goods exported to the United States. On Wednesday, Trump announced a 90-day pause for countries facing higher U.S. tariffs. According to the Prime Minister, it seems the region is bound together on the matter.
I've been talking to leaders of other countries, reaching out to the executives in our business communities, and consulting with economists and trade experts to assess the likely impact and to plan for multiple scenarios.
Trump's new trade policies have sparked a great deal of uncertainty and widespread fear of a looming U.S. economic recession. More than 100 countries have been impacted by these tariffs. Should the 10% tariff on Bahamian goods imported into the U.S. remain, Davis warned that Bahamian exporters in multiple industries will soon feel the impact.
We have been in contact with U.S. officials regarding the change in policy, and we are working with fellow Caribbean countries on collective diplomatic efforts. We are also speaking with Bahamian exporters and working to understand whether there are short-term policies we could enact to cushion the fallout. My government has taken trade diversification seriously from the start, which means that for the first time, our country has in place an agency dedicated to expanding trading opportunities and a national trade policy.
Davis also admitting that the new tariffs will likely cause new inflationary pressures, meaning higher prices for Bahamians.
For a country like ours, higher prices will add to what is already an unbearable high cost of living. We are very concerned about the impact on Bahamian families.
Reporting for our news, I'm Berthany McDermott.
All right, thanks so much for that, Berthany. Meanwhile, local water sports operators defending their business following a travel advisory, warning Americans to stay away from jet ski rides. Jet ski operators told Joshua Williams the advisory doesn't paint a fair picture.
United States Embassy here in Nassau is sending a travel advisory to its citizens who may want to visit our shores. They say it's dangerous to rent jet skis at this time, but how do operators feel about it?
Avoid jet skis, stay aware of your surroundings, and stay alert in public restrooms. Those warnings coming from the latest alert from the U.S. Embassy in Nassau. It's not the first time Americans have been warned of possible dangers when they visit the Bahamas. Neither is it the first time they've told visitors to stay away from local water sports. Operator Pedro Bannister operates his business on Goodman's Bay. He says while the U.S. does what it has to do, he believes the reality couldn't be further from the truth.
As you can see, our operation is one of the top operations in the Bahamas. We have the police on point every day here. We have a lot of senior man them that works from this beach, and we don't tolerate nonsense. You understand, we have a rotation system that has been implemented for the past probably 25, 30 years, and we don't have any issues like the issues what they be having in these other areas.
The U.S. alert says jet ski operators have raped and sexually assaulted U.S. women the past month, with 3 rapes reported in 2024. Victims also reported male jet ski operators picking them up from downtown Nassau and Paradise Island beaches, assaulting and raping them on nearby isolated islands. Bannister tells me they believe they know who's behind much of the reported mischief.
You have legit operators and you have illegal operators. Now the legit operators are not going to come out here and mess up the industry. It's these people them who went and bought jet skis without no number and operating right in some eyesight.
Bannister says all operators follow strict rules.
So I don't want to see none of y'all on my jet ski with no tourists. No female, anyone who been drinking alcohol and look like they little, like they can't control themselves, they're not riding on my jet skis.
Overall, he says they're not worried.
It's a business that goes up and down. When it's up, you have to save what you can save, and when it's down, you have to go with the punches.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
Thanks for that, Josh. Former House Speaker Halton Moultrie says a sitting MP being denied a nomination is not new, citing the decision by former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis ahead of the 2017 general election not to run several incumbents. In fact, he suggests the move not to run Dr. Minnis could unite the Free National Movement Party. Moultrie was elected in 2017 under the F&M banner in the Nassau Village constituency, but after trotting a rocky road with the then Minnis administration, Moultrie resigned and became the first independent House Speaker. When asked his views on the party's internal drama, Moultrie shared this.
I don't agree with the argument that because Dr. Minnis is being denied in Killarney, that would split the party. I think that would have a unifying effect. That's the experience of 2017. And I think it would all go well for the future of the Free National Movement going ahead, presenting a completely new direction and a completely new slate under a new leader.
And while he's not outrightly supporting the move to sack the former Prime Minister, Moultrie said it's unusual for a former Prime Minister to not only be voted out of leadership, but also to lose support of the party. The former Prime Minister has been silent in recent weeks, but Minnis promised a statement this week. Moultrie says he believes if Dr. Minnis runs independent, he will not have the full support of F&Ms, making it unlikely for him to win.
People see him as a selfish, despotic type of leader. That is why they are rejecting him. And if he decides to run as an independent and loses and causes the F&M to lose the seat, he will seal his legacy as a despotic, selfish, concern about self-preservation only, as opposed to the betterment of the party and the country.
A 64-year-old woman facing a child cruelty charge after allegedly burning her neighbor's 3-year-old son with hot water while babysitting him on March 31st. Judy Spence pleaded not guilty during her arraignment before Assistant Chief Magistrate Carolyn Boat Evans. She was granted $5,000 bail and must wear an ankle bracelet and report to Wolf Road Police Station. Her trial set for May 6th. And now to a follow-up that we first brought you this week. 7-year-old Royalty Newton is expected to return to school immediately, according to education officials. The update comes just one day after our news report on the Abaco student who was pulled from classes by her mother over concerns about support for her physical disabilities. Deandra Newton told our news the school was unable to provide consistent assistance, especially to and from the bathroom, after a designated staff member resigned. Education Minister Glenys Hannah Martin pressed on the issue Thursday. She acknowledged the gap and promised action to address it.
The ministry is between the district superintendent locally in Abaco and the director of education. They are working now in finding a solution for that situation. We have children throughout the nation with similar concerns, and so we're collaborating the Ministry of Social Services to ensure that we don't have gaps. This particular gap was sort of created by the resignation and then the substitute situation, but we're working very quickly to close this gap.
Is taking a proactive approach to support students with special needs, engaging 30 special education teachers and funding scholarships for 14 others to pursue master's degrees in the field. Some of those educators, she added, are already assisting within the system, but she admits there's more work to be done.
Ministry has a very keen sensitivity and understanding of its obligation as it relates to special needs children. We have a principal that is sight impaired. It's never happened before in the history, but he has moved up through the ranks, and he's principal of a school. And so I think that we still have some fine tuning to do in terms of ensuring that gaps do not occur. And the gaps, we take the gaps seriously, and so that is something I think that this situation has sort of alerted us to.
All right, we've got much more to get to tonight, but for now it's time for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is standing by in the Weather Center. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Gideon, and a happy Thursday evening, everybody. Warm evening setting up for us on the outdoors. Temperatures near the 80-degree mark. Few clouds. We still have a bit of a breeze. North-northwest winds at 60 miles per hour. Feels like temperature is at 79. Temperatures around the islands right now, it's 76 in Freeport, Grand Bahama. Marshall, Abaco also 76. We pick up 75 in Allenstown, Bimini. 78, Great Harbor Key. String of 80s, Nicholstown, Andros, here in the capital, as well as in Governor's Harbor, Lusra. Central Bahamas, Kemps Bay, 80. 80 also in Black Point, Zumas, Georgetown, 78. 78 in Arthurstown, Cat Island, Coburn Towns in Salvador, 77. And Port Nelson, Rum Key, you guys are 79, as well as in Deadman's Key. And into the southeast Bahamas, 78 in Duncan Town, Ragged Island, 80s, Colonel Hill, Crooked Island, Delectable Bay, Acklands, Abrahams Bay, 79, 81 in Providenciales, Tricks and Caicos Islands, and deep south, Matthew Town, Inagua, you are also 81 at this hour. Satellite view across the area, front boundary now across the southeast Bahamas, high pressure building in behind that. That front is going to produce some cloudy conditions across the southeastern islands, maybe even an isolated shower or two. We have some showers just along the Florida coast, but most of those will be moving towards the southwest. That's courtesy of a north-northeast wind. But that high pressure will dominate our weather for the remainder of the week, so we're looking for some nice conditions, even though it's going to be slightly warmer during the daytime hours. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Coming up in sports, we have to talk about what's going on with the Chinese Women's Basketball Association. JJ and Szechuan are in trouble for the first time all season.
Hey, Greg Thompson here, and thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that follow button. And if you want to see more content like this, follow all of our news social media pages. And hey, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team you already trust.
My name is Trevi Williams. I've been a live fiber customer since March 2024. The installation process was seamless, effortless, and extremely fast. The gentlemen that came to the installation were very helpful, reliable, very knowledgeable, and the time allocated to do the installation was shorter than the time specified. Yeah, the previous provider I had, I noticed that the internet speed actually had intermittent on the services, so I was very grateful that the live fiber was available in my area. Once I was able to make the switch, my service and everything I needed was satisfied. My favorite feature would actually be being able to add any apps from the Play Store. It's just basically making any dumb TV a smart TV. I do a lot of back-end support, engineering support, helping clients working remotely when I'm from home. The internet is a very important aspect of my job and my life. My name is Trey Williams, and the future is home with a live fiber.
Welcome to Our Sports at 7, presented by 10th Year Seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. Let's do show. The Szechuan Blue Waves have been the most dominant club in the Women's Chinese Basketball Association all season long. Then they added the WNBA Finals MVP. So how were they facing a 2-1 deficit in the finals? Szechuan staved off elimination and kept their season alive today with a 96-77 win over Guangdong in the best-of-5 championship series. Jones finished with 22 points and 11 rebounds. In AA baseball, a pair of Bahamian prospects hit their first home runs of the season. Christian Robinson finished 2 for 5 with 3 RBI for the Amarillo Sod Poodles in their 10-9 loss to the Springfield Cardinals. BJ Murray homered for the Knoxville Smokies in their 6-1 win over the Rocket City Trash Pandas. Sebastian Walcott saw his 4-game hit streak come to an end yesterday, but he's picked up where he left off at the end of last season. More updates from Bahamian pro track athletes opening their 2025 outdoor campaigns. At the Pepsi Florida Relays in Gainesville, Florida, Charisma Taylor took first place in the Olympic Development Women's 100 hurdles in 12.82 seconds. Over in the field, Kaiwan Culmer placed fourth in the men's triple jump at 16.04 meters. At the Miramar Invitational in Miramar, Florida, Wendell Miller followed his appearance at the World Indoor Championships last month with his outdoor debut. Also at the meet, Ian Kerr was 12th in the 100 meters overall and finished in 10.32 seconds, 5th place in the B final. A crushing loss last night at the buzzer for Buddy Hield and the Golden State Warriors could jeopardize them securing the 6th seed and avoiding the play-in tournament. Hield scored 12, but the Spurs won 114-111 on a Harrison Barnes go-ahead 3 last night. That'll do it for our sports. Stay tuned to our news at 7:30 for details on these stories and more.
When our news comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as a nightmare in the Dominican Republic. The death toll from the Jet Set nightclub collapse climbs past 200. Plus, U.S. President Donald Trump gathers his top team, plus Elon Musk for a cabinet meeting on Thursday. And egg prices in the U.S. have cracked a new record, hitting over $6 a dozen. What experts are saying about Easter demand and ongoing challenges when our news returns.
Yo, what's good, my loyal viewers? Ronaldo Dorset of 10YS here. First of all, thanks so much for watching, but be sure to hit that follow button. If you'd like to see more content like this, follow all of the Our News social media pages, and of course, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team, well, from the teams you already trust.
The moment we've been waiting for is here. Carifta 2025 is taking over and RTV is bringing you every thrilling moment. It's time to rally behind Team Bahamas as they go for gold, glory, and greatness. Feel the energy as we witness the best athletes the Caribbean has to offer. April 19th through the 21st, live from Hazley Crawford Stadium, Port of Spain, Trinidad. Catch every sprint, every throw, every victory exclusively on RTV. Plus, don't miss our daily updates from Carifta Swimming. The best of Carifta, the best of Team Bahamas, the best coverage only on RTV.
This is our news. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. A devastating tragedy in the Dominican Republic. The death toll from the Jet Set nightclub collapse in Santo Domingo has now risen to at least 218, with 189 people rescued after the roof came crashing down early Tuesday morning. The popular club was packed for a concert by beloved merengue singer Ruby Perez, who sadly was among the dead. Families have been keeping vigil outside the rubble hoping for news. Emergency crews still digging through debris. A national tribute will be held today to honor Perez and the lives lost. U.S. President Donald Trump gathered his top team, plus Elon Musk, for a cabinet meeting Thursday, just a day after hitting pause on most tariffs except for China, which now faces a whopping 145% rate. Trump also said the government will ease up on deporting undocumented farm and hotel workers, calling them essential and promising a path to legal work. And despite recent reports of cabinet infighting, Trump dismissed the tension, saying everyone here is doing an incredible job. They're friends. Even Musk and Peter Navarro, who've recently clashed over tariffs, shared the same table.
I wish the American people kind of backed up their president a little bit more. I don't think there's anything wrong with us asking for what we're owed.
Trump is full of himself. He wants to make the rules. He wants to be a dictator, if you ask me that.
So I'm the guy that I adjust to every situation. I just went and got an extra job because I know I'm gonna need it. You know, if the tariffs go up, I just got to get extra. I got to adjust to whatever's going on in the world.
This as egg prices in the U.S. have cracked another record, hitting $6.23 a dozen, despite President Trump's claims they were on their way down. That's the highest ever, even though bird flu hasn't hit egg farms lately and wholesale prices actually dropped in March. Experts say grocery stores may not have passed those savings on just yet, and that Easter demand is keeping prices high. Trump praised his team for lots of eggs, but industry insiders say relief could take time, especially with flocks still rebuilding after massive bird flu losses earlier this year. All right, in recent weeks, there's been a lot of talk about the Bahamas being able to feed itself amid fears of the trade war prompted by U.S. trade tariffs on nations across the world. It's not a new concept, though, for the Juana Luther Foundation, which is home to a training farm that not only supplies produce for the island, but also offers training on best farming practices. It's even caught the attention of the Food and Agriculture Organization. Our Jasmine Brown tells us more in tonight's Sustainability First.
Bahamas First, putting sustainability first for our people and our environment. What's first for you and the planet comes first for us.
The training farm is a key part of the Juana Luther Foundation's Center for Training and Innovation. It was created to increase food and local subsistence farming through education and training that equips the next generation of farmers with the tools to grow the farming industry. It features a deep water culture hydroponic pond, a packing house for cleaning and packaging farm produce, a 1 million gallon water rain catchment reservoir, and a photovoltaic solar power system. It also has a state-of-the-art 1.1 acre retractable roof grow house that's the first in the region. Crop production officer Salima Halber says it's a game changer for tropical climates.
In our climate, we have no shortage of heat and no shortage of warmth. We actually have too much at certain times of the year. So we need to mitigate the amount of sunlight. So a retractable roof cooling house actually functions to shade the plants when it becomes too hot.
And Juana Luther is also catching the attention of international stakeholders. They were recently visited by a representative from the Food and Agriculture Organization, as well as the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources.
I'm really impressed by the technology that is being implemented and all the process that, it's like a cycle of learning, teaching, disseminating, and this is what FAO is all about.
And Juana Luther, being a foundation in the private sector, has demonstrated capabilities that the Bahamas should really adopt. This place has demonstrated that we can have agriculture production at scale.
Reporting for Our News and reminding you to put sustainability first, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Still to come in Our News, Today in History. Find out interesting facts about the day that was April 10. Then in Our News at 7:30, after the success of a global hit, creating music again can feel daunting. But tonight, a former Bahamian member opens up about his solo act and the release of his latest project. But first, health officials sounding the alarm as hand, foot, and mouth disease resurfaces. The health minister urging parents to act fast if their kids show symptoms. What you need to know when Our News returns.
The moment we've been waiting for is here. Carifta 2025 is taking over and RTV is bringing you every thrilling moment. It's time to rally behind Team Bahamas as they go for gold, glory, and greatness. Feel the energy as we witness the best athletes the Caribbean has to offer. April 19th through the 21st, live from Hazley Crawford Stadium, Port of Spain, Trinidad. Catch every sprint, every throw, every victory exclusively on RTV. Plus, don't miss our daily updates from Carifta Swimming. The best of Carifta, the best of Team Bahamas, the best coverage only on RTV.
Back. On this day in Bahamian history in 1968, the PLP won its first election majority. The PLP secured 29 of 38 seats. The UBP's loss led to the FNM's formation in 1971. And in 2012, Parliament dissolved ahead of the May 7 general elections. It marked the first full slate from a third party, the Democratic National Alliance. The PLP won and Perry Christie became Prime Minister for a second and final term. All right, that's going to do it for us in News at 7. Megan Shepard is up next, but before we toss to our News at 7:30, if you've been following us on Thursdays, then of course you know that Thursday is the new Friday here at Our News. Joining us now is entertainment correspondent Danielle Miller, who's always looking to get a jump start on the weekend. Danny, can you tell us what's the latest? Where are you now? And I feel like you're at Atlantis.
weekend. I am at Salon at Atlantis Paradise Island. You know, this is one of my home bases. And the reason why I love this place so much is besides the restaurants, let's talk about the people that work here. It's the staff, it's the executives, and also it is their signature chefs. I mean, when Alon Shire was here for Nassau Paradise Island Wine and Food Festival, y'all could have given him a Bahamian passport. He was walking around, he was having the time of his life, as well as Chef JJ and their other signature chefs. That is why I love this place, because they literally make you feel like you're at home. But you want your weekly dose of entertainment news? Be sure to tune into our 7:30 p.m. broadcast. Y'all hear my little radio voice? 7:30 p.m. broadcast for your weekly dose of the entertainment. All right, guys and gals, until next weekend, you should know the drill by now. Deuces.
Listen, thank you so much for that, Jenny. I mean, Megan, that should have been nostalgic for you.
Absolutely.
Wine and Food Festival was
has my heart officially.
Listen.
All right.
I can't wait for next year.
I already got my tickets pre-booked in my head.
Okay, well, pre-book mine, same time, okay? Every night.
Perfect. All right, thanks so much, Candino. We'll have more on Danielle's it's in just a bit, but for now, here are your latest headlines.
Strengthening regional partnerships and an aggressive hunt to diversify. Here, the Prime Minister's plan to minimize the anticipated blow of U.S. trade policies. But first, our Joshua Williams breaks down the ongoing trade wars between two world superpowers. Here, what the local embassy of the People's Republic of China here in the Bahamas has to say. And then the health minister confirming that the highly contagious hand, foot, and mouth disease is once again being reported in the country. And later, say hello to Broadway. The Bahamas National Youth Choir is back with its spring concert, and they want you to experience it this weekend. The details on these stories and more when our news returns.
Every season creates an opportunity for you to enjoy the comfort and security of your most valuable assets. Unfortunately, termites are common and very unwanted guests that never stop eating. With Strucom, you can enjoy the peace of mind as we protect your investment with our 3-year fumigation warranty. Strucom, #1 in pest control services.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Megan Shepard. Another day of uncertainty for global markets, manufacturers, and even small businesses as the looming trade war escalates between two of the world's superpowers, the U.S. and China, both hitting back with stiff tariffs. While observers say Trump may be backing down with a temporary halt, China says they will do whatever is necessary to defend the needs of their people. Our Joshua Williams has some local insight tonight.
The Embassy of the People's Republic of China here in the Bahamas standing by their government's position on this looming trade war with the United States. On Tuesday, the White House announced a 104% tariff on goods from China, but later stepped back, pausing the action for 90 days. Hours later, President Trump announced tariffs on Chinese imports now totaling 145%. The U.S. president warning that any retaliatory measures China takes would end in failure. China hit back immediately with 84% retaliatory tariffs on U.S. imports expected to come into effect today. The local charge d'affaires declined an on-camera interview but says his government is unwavering on their position. Pointing to Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jin remarks, the Chinese government says they won't let anyone take away the people's rights to development, adding that, quote, if the U.S. decides not to care about the interests of the U.S. itself, China, and the rest of the world, and is determined to fight a tariff and trade war, China's response will continue to the end, end quote. As this global trade crisis looms larger and larger each day, our quest for insight will take us next to a Bahamian living and studying in China for a first-hand account of the economic impact of all this from inside the communist nation. Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
And Prime Minister Philip Davis laying out the grim reality of the impact new U.S. trade policies will have on the Bahamas. Davis says the government is collaborating with regional partners and is aggressively finding ways to diversify trade. His comments come amid global instability following the tariff war started by U.S. President Donald Trump. In a video message Wednesday evening, Davis said he's exploring various avenues to minimize the blow to the local economy. The Bahamas is among the countries saddled with a 10% base rate on goods exported to the United States. On Wednesday, Trump announced a 90-day pause for countries facing higher U.S. tariffs. According to the Prime Minister, it seems the region is banding together on this matter.
I've been talking to leaders of other countries, reaching out to the executives in our business communities, and consulting with economists and trade experts to assess the likely impact and to plan for multiple scenarios.
Trump's new trade policies have sparked a great deal of uncertainty and widespread fear of a looming U.S. economic recession. More than 100 countries have been impacted by these tariffs. Now, should the 10% tariff on Bahamian goods imported into the U.S. remain, Davis warned that Bahamian exporters in multiple industries will soon feel the impact.
We have been in contact with U.S. officials regarding the change in policy, and we are working with fellow Caribbean countries on collective diplomatic efforts. We are also speaking with Bahamian exporters and working to understand whether there are short-term policies we could enact to cushion the fallout. My government has taken trade diversification seriously from the start, which means that for the first time, our country has in place an agency dedicated to expanding trading opportunities and a national trade policy.
Meantime, Health Minister Dr. Michael Darville confirming that cases of hand, foot, and mouth disease have once again been reported in the country. The minister providing that update on the contagious illness, which primarily affects children, while attending the groundbreaking ceremony for the Coconut Grove Advanced Health Center on Wednesday. He also notes that it is making its typical seasonal return. As the virus is more prevalent this time of year, Dr. Darville is urging parents and guardians to keep their children at home if they notice any symptoms.
Our clinics, our nursing staff at our school is fully aware, and the surveillance unit, as well as the Department of Public Health, is on alert at all of our facilities. And so once we get an indication that a child or even an adult present with signs and symptoms of hand, foot, and mouth disease, the protocols are immediately put in place. The individuals is isolated and then subsequently monitored by our clinical staff before they go back into the school environment or back into the work environment to reduce the spread.
The disease spreads through direct contact with an infected person's saliva, respiratory droplets, blister fluid, or stool. It can also be transmitted via contaminated surfaces or objects such as toys, doorknobs, and shared utensils. Symptoms include fever, sore throat, painful mouth ulcers, skin rash on the hands, feet, or buttocks, decreased appetite, irritability, and fatigue. Darville explains how his ministry intends on keeping this highly contagious disease at bay.
What we have learned in COVID-19 is very important because proper sanitation is one of the key factors in reducing the incidence of spread. And so our school janitorial services are fully aware, and we are once again calling on the Bahamian people for these necessary hand washing and proper sanitation to reduce the spread of hand, foot, and mouth disease throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
All right, well, we've still got lots more to share with you tonight, but first, meteorologist Greg Thompson steps into the Weather Center with your first look at temperatures. Greg.
Yeah, thanks, Megan, and a happy Thursday evening, everybody. Warm conditions on the outside, temperature at 80 degrees, few clouds. Winds out of the north-northwest at 16 miles per hour, so we have a slight breeze out there. Feels like temperature is at 79. Satellite radar composite. Quiet across the northwest Bahamas as high pressure is building in across the area. Also the central Bahamas, frontal boundary now across the southeast Bahamas, producing some cloudy conditions, as well as a few isolated showers across that area. But that will continue to slide towards the east and away from us, and that high pressure will dominate our weather for the remainder of the week. We do have also some showers just in the Gulf Stream, Florida Strait. That's moving towards the southwest. Bimini and the Grand Bahama could see one or two of those passing showers. But all in all, it should be a quiet evening and a beautiful end to the week. That's a quick check on conditions around the islands. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
On the other side of this break, news from the courts as suspects in a double shooting last year now facing a murder charge. Plus, a big step forward for marine conservation as a new center opens on Ocean Key in Bimini today. The details when our news returns.
KFC is giving you more to love with our KFC Bucket Meal with large size. Get the KFC Family Bucket featuring 8 pieces of juicy chicken, family fries, and 4 biscuits that feeds 4. A KFC Deluxe Bucket with 10 pieces of delicious chicken, 2 larger sides, and 4 biscuits that feeds 4 to 6. Or a KFC Party Bucket with 15 pieces of our chicken, 3 larger sides, and 6 biscuits that feeds 6. And we'll handle the dishes, plates, and utensils included, so you can lick your fingers in peace. KFC knows value, and it's finger licking good.
How do ideas become plans? Plans become memories.
So you like my new room?
And dreams become your life.
This is retirement.
Do you remember when hope became a house? When that house became a home? Your ideas are everything, and we're here to help make them happen. Your idea of yes, I can happens here.
Welcome to Paradise Games, where exceptional service meets the ultimate gaming experience. Our dedicated team is here to make every visit a win.
Now this is paradise.
This is more than just a place to play.
Now this is paradise.
It's where excitement meets world-class service.
Now this is paradise.
Now this is paradise.
Come experience it for yourself. Now this is paradise.
The suspects in a double shooting that took place last August are now facing a murder charge after one of their alleged victims died. 33-year-old James Johnson and 22-year-old Jerome Wright are now charged with the murder of Arthur Wilson, who died in hospital on February 22nd. Wilson and Deontay Ferguson were both shot while at Yonge Street on August 28, 2024. Johnson and Wright were already on remand for 2 counts of attempted murder when Wilson died. They did not have to enter pleas to the upgraded charge when they appeared before Assistant Chief Magistrate Carolyn Vo-Evans. They returned to court on May 1st to receive voluntary bill of indictment papers. A 30-year-old armed truck guard who fired a shotgun at a woman after she didn't move her car has to pay $2,500 to avoid jail time. ICS security guard Sharon Tarvel was doing a money pickup at Kentucky Fried Chicken on Carmichael Road on December 27, 2024, when he saw a heavily tinted car in the parking lot. While wielding his shotgun, he ordered the female driver to move. When the woman didn't immediately obey his command, Darville fired a warning shot in the air. He was subsequently arrested and charged with threats of harm and possession of a firearm with intent to put another in fear. Darville pleaded guilty to the charges before his trial began before Assistant Chief Magistrate Carolyn Vo-Evans. He was ordered to pay the woman $500 on compensation to avoid a 2-month prison sentence. He also has to pay a court fine of $2,000 to escape a 6-month sentence. Well, a big step forward for marine conservation as MSC Cruises officially opened its brand new Marine Conservation Center on Ocean Key in Bimini today. Built by the MSC Foundation, the center is part of a global push to revive coral reefs, starting right here in Bahamian waters. Our news was there in November 2021 when ground was broken at the site and Prime Minister Philip Davis pledged to invest in the blue economy. Today, the completed facility features an aquarium, biolab, lecture hall, and discovery pavilion aimed at education, research, and reef restoration. The opening drew government officials, MSC executives, private partners, and international students already conducting hands-on research. Media got a full tour, and MSC Foundation Chair Pierre Francesco Vego revealed one of their biggest wins with coral that survived a major heat wave that killed others. He says that breakthrough sparked a new coral rescue task force.
When we first arrived here in 2016, Ocean Key was a scarred landscape, a sand mining site from what we saw from the video. But we saw something else. We saw potential, a chance to heal nature, a chance to build something meaningful, and destination that brings global travelers to the Bahamas, and lasting economic benefit to the Bahamian communities.
The Prime Minister also spoke at the event today, calling the transformation of Ocean Key into a hub for research and conservation, something many once thought was impossible.
Ocean Key is no longer just an idea. It is alive, it is thriving, and it is leading. What we see here is nothing short of extraordinary. A once scarred industrial site has been reimagined, reborn as a sanctuary of marine restoration, research, and hope. This island, now home to MSC Foundation's flagship Super Coral program, is doing what many thought impossible.
Well, our Italia Hall was on the ground in Ocean Key today, and we'll have much more on this story coming up in News Tomorrow.
It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by RF, your local investment bank. This has been your Financial Market Minute. To explore the best performing mutual funds in the Bahamas, visit our website at www.rfgroup.com.
Coming up in sports, JJ and her club lose back-to-back games for the first time all season. A big night for K. Robbie and BJ Murray in the minors. And in the NBA playoff chase, a former Warrior plays spoiler.
Welcome to Paradise Games, where exceptional service meets the ultimate gaming experience. Our dedicated team is here to make every visit a win.
Now this is paradise.
This is more than just a place to play.
Now this is paradise.
It's where excitement meets world-class service.
Now this is paradise.
Now this is paradise.
Come, experience it for yourself. Now this is paradise.
Welcome to Our Sports, presented by 10th Year Seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. Let's do show. The Szechuan Blue Waves have been the most dominant club in the Women's Chinese Basketball Association all season long. Then they added the WNBA Finals MVP. So how were they facing a 2-1 deficit in the finals? Szechuan staved off elimination and kept their season alive today with a 96-77 win over Guangdong in the best-of-5 championship series. Jones finished with 22 points and 11 rebounds. For the series, she's averaging 22 points and 9 boards per game. In Game 1, she finished with 14 points and 7 boards in an 83-70 loss. And in Game 2, she totaled 31 points on 13 for 17 shooting from the field and added 9 rebounds in a 90-83 loss. The series continues with Game 4 on Sunday. In AA baseball, a pair of Bahamian prospects hit their first home runs of the season. Christian Robinson finished 2 for 5 with 3 RBI for the Amarillo Sod Poodles in their 10-9 loss to the Springfield Cardinals. Robinson hit a 3-run home run on a line drive to left field in the 4th inning to give the Sod Poodles a brief 5-4 lead. He also singled on a line drive to left field in the 8th inning. BJ Murray homered for the Knoxville Smokies in their 6-1 win over the Rocket City Trash Pandas. Murray hit a solo homer in the 8th inning to give the Smokies a 3-1 lead. Sebastian Walcott saw his 4-game hit streak come to an end yesterday, but he's picked up where he left off at the end of last season. The Texas Rangers' #1 prospect is hitting .238 with 5 hits and 2 RBI through 5 games. More updates from Bahamian Pro Track athletes opening their 2025 outdoor campaigns. At the Pepsi Florida Relays in Gainesville, Florida, Charisma Taylor took first place in the Olympic Development Women's 100 hurdles in 12.82 seconds. Over in the field, Kaiwan Culmer placed 4th in the men's triple jump at 16.04 meters. At the Miramar Invitational in Miramar, Florida, Wendell Miller followed his appearance at the World Indoor Championships last month with his outdoor debut. He took first place in the B final of the 300 meters in 33.45 seconds for 3rd overall. Also at the meet, Ian Kerr was 12th in the 100 meters overall and finished in 10.32 seconds, 5th place in the B final. A crushing loss last night at the buzzer for Buddy Hield and the Golden State Warriors could jeopardize them securing the 6th seed and avoiding the play-in tournament. Hield scored 12, but the Spurs won 114-111 on a Harrison Barnes go-ahead 3 last night. The Warriors were outscored 32-19 in the second quarter and 38-23 in the pivotal fourth. With the loss, Golden State is now in the 7th seed, 1 game behind the LA Clippers and a half game behind the Memphis Grizzlies. They're also only a half game ahead of the Minnesota T-Wolves. That'll do it for sports. This is 10YS. Of course, the biggest story out of China, can JJ and Szechuan complete the backdoor sweep? What else is going on? Anyway, back to the studio.
Still ahead on our news tonight, all roads lead to the Dundas Center as the Bahamas National Youth Choir gears up to host their spring concert. Plus, Greg is back in the Weather Center with a complete check on temperatures. Stick with us.
Yo, what's good, my loyal viewers? Ronaldo Dorset of 10YS here. First of all, thanks so much for watching, but be sure to hit that follow button. If you'd like to see more content like this, follow all of the Our News social media pages, and of course, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team, well, from the teams you already trust.
The moment we've been waiting for is here. Carifta 2025 is taking over and RTV is bringing you every thrilling moment. It's time to rally behind Team Bahamas as they go for gold, glory, and greatness. Feel the energy as we witness the best athletes the Caribbean has to offer. April 19th through the 21st, live from Hazley Crawford Stadium, Port of Spain, Trinidad. Catch every sprint, every throw, every victory exclusively on RTV. Plus, don't miss our daily updates from Carifta Swimming. The best of Carifta, the best of Team Bahamas, the best coverage only on RTV.
This is our news. Welcome back. High pressure dominating the weather behind a frontal boundary that is now across the southeast Bahamas. Cloudy conditions associated with that frontal boundary will stay with the southeastern islands, and that's going to produce a couple of isolated showers across that area. That front will continue to push towards the southeast and away from us. Still have some showers in that northeasterly wind flow across the northern islands, but most of the activity is moving along the Florida east coast. That's going to continue to drift towards the southeast. But Bimini and Grand Bahama, you guys could see 1 or 2 passing showers tonight through tomorrow as that northeasterly wind continues, eventually turning more towards the northeast and east over the next couple of days. Wider look, this is how things are shaping up. Another frontal boundary well to the north of that front, well, actually one to the south. That high pressure will continue to keep that at bay. We do expect another frontal boundary to be getting in here by Saturday. Could bring us another spell for a couple of showers. And once again, high pressure will be building in behind that as well. Future forecast showing the moisture associated with that boundary down near the southeast Bahamas pulling away from us. We still have a few lingering showers across the southeast Bahamas through Friday, but by Saturday, we expect most of that activity to be pushing out. And then here comes the second front. That's going to be getting in here Saturday, maybe isolated shower or 2 in the forecast. Boating forecast for the northwest and central Bahamas. Tonight through tomorrow, we have a caution flag for the Atlantic side as well as a high rip current risk. Winds will be north to northeast at 10 knots. They will fall light and variable at times. Seas running 2 to 3 feet near shore, but building up to 5 feet offshore in northeasterly swells, and that will be mainly along Atlantic exposures. Tide is high at 7:27 tonight. The low tide takes place at 1:42 in the morning. Southeast Bahamas, caution flag also for the Atlantic side. East winds at 10 knots, seas 2 to 3 feet, building up to 5 feet along Atlantic exposures. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In the extended forecast, it's going to look beautiful on Friday. Warm, temperature near the 80-degree mark. Frontal boundary gets in here on Saturday, stick a few showers in there. Once that front goes through, temperatures will take a slight dip, getting to about 79 by Monday, but they're going to be warming up by early next week. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, everybody.
All right, thanks so much, Greg. It's concert season and the Bahamas National Youth Choir is back with its spring concert dubbed Say Hello to Broadway. The concert begins tonight straight into Saturday with nightly shows at 7:30 p.m. Saturday features a matinee showing and it's all happening at the Dundas Center for the Performing Arts. Bahamas National Youth Choir Director Dexter Fernandez says this concert is unlike others the choir has done in the past.
Our show is called Say Hello to Broadway. So it shows off some of the parts of the choir's performance. This concert is specifically about Broadway. So we have tunes related to Hamilton, Michael Jackson, The Life of Tina Turner. We've done it all, The Temptations, and some of the iconic ones, The Fiddle on the Roof, etc. So this year we considered a more intimate package in the Philip A. Burrows building.
Tickets are still available. You can get yours by emailing bnycsecretary@gmail.com or by going to the Dundas box office. The National Youth Choir has not performed at the Dundas since the pandemic, but felt it necessary to return to what Fernando described as their home.
Dundas means a lot for us. Our first start was at the Dundas, and many of us grew up at the Dundas. It's the only community place that we have a community performance theater that has the acoustics necessary for drama and musical. And so it is important for us to continue that legacy of supporting the only private community theater. So we came back home.
All right, well, creating music can sometimes be intimidating, especially after you've experienced the success of a global hit single. Tonight, our Danielle Miller talks one-on-one with a former member of Bahamian about the release of his new body of work in his solo career.
Omerit Heald was introduced to the world as a member of the Grammy Award-winning group Bahamian. Since his Who Let the Dogs Out era, Omerit spent his years evolving as a solo artist, inspired by Bahamian icons like Tony McKay, Ronnie Butler, and Bahamian. He says those rhythms helped to craft his style of music.
What I wanted to do was bridge the gap between traditional Bahamian music, Caribbean music. So the music is R&B and pop in the songwriting more so, and in the instrumentation.
Recently, he released his new album, Emancipation Body of Work Volume 1. He and a gentleman named Rudy Perez spent years working on the album, reproducing songs, all to deliver his artistic vision to the best of his ability.
I've been working on this project for about 4 years. And kind of holding it back, I wanted to make it the best thing that, it could be. But then I just got to the point where I was like, I just got to let it go.
Now available on streaming platforms, Omerit says this album serves as a reminder to artists to free themselves from the pressures and expectations and allow your passion to lead your artistry.
I feel like art is interpreted, so good or bad, as long as it invokes some type of emotion, some type of feeling, I think you've done your job.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Danielle Miller.
Thanks for that, Danielle, and thank you so much for joining us for Our News tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepherd. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a safe and wonderful evening. Hey guys, Megan Shepherd here. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Just click right over here. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so you stay up to date with content like this from the team you already trust.